Hi there, welcome to Cocktail Mode, the podcast where me, Andy, and my good mate Dave pick a retro game and try and pair it with a cocktail. Today's game is Virtua Tennis. Wimbledon's just finished, we're fully in the depths of the tennis season, so we thought we'd get our strawberries and cream and play a game that's actually worth playing and not surrounded by really posh people spending far too much money on tickets. Obviously, there's a whole series there for us to talk about, and we'll have a bit of a roundup of other games prior to Virtua Tennis. And I said prior, and you'll learn why in a bit. We're considering doing a shorter episode on the weeks between the full episodes, which will be stuff that we talk about that's off topic or is completely irrelevant or is just basically me and Dave corpsing because I've pronounced something wrong. It will probably be half hour.
If that.
So when we were recording the previous episode, we went down a rabbit hole of Love, Death and Robots and just talking about, we went through the list of every episode of Love, Death and Robot and basically both said what we thought about it in very short order, very quick. So thank you to the hardcore, the few people that comment on our output. We genuinely love it. Thank you very much. Let us know what you reckon. If you'd like to hear me and Dave talk some random nonsense about stuff that's not games or cocktails for a bit, that just to fill the gap between the main episodes. So let us know. On the off chance that anyone listening doesn't know of Virtua Tennis, 1999 Dreamcast game is the version we're looking at. I think it probably came out in the same year in the arcades. If not, it would have been a year or so earlier.
It was co-developed alongside the arcade version, so it was very, very quick.
So yeah, I mean, it's an arcade-style tennis game featuring 8 real players, 5 or 6 not real courts.
Wimbledon's real, isn't it?
No.
I thought it was.
No, it's called the Old England Club.
Ah, yes, that's it. Yeah, now you say it.
Not the All England Club, which is what tennis is actually called. Now, there's no officially licensed stuff in it. There's a whole bunch of advertising that's real.
The players were officially licensed.
What's interesting to me is that they were sort of not seen as the very sort of top level of tennis players. They're sort of the very best of the best. I've always been sort of casually aware of tennis. So I've heard of all these players, but apparently in the 2000 era, the likes of Jim Courier, Mark Philippoussis, Tim Henman and that, they weren't the very top tier of tennis players. I don't know who was, but at that point they weren't. I think some of them went on to be.
They didn't pick just like the top 10 tennis players in the world. They wanted a mix of nationalities. They wanted something to appeal to everybody in every territory. So they went down the route of picking, like, let's limit ourselves to 2 Americans. Let's limit ourselves to someone British, someone German, someone Swiss. Based on, obviously, you had to pick and choose from who was good at the time. Yeah. No point picking the one guy who's from Austria if he's shit. 8 official real players. 4 of those guys were fictional, and for Virtua Tennis 4, there was like an online petition started to get a guy called Fernando Gonzalez from Chile put in the game.
Right.
Because South America hadn't been particularly well represented.
Fair.
So there's this big petition, and it caught the eye of the developers, and they put him in.
Oh, amazing.
Which is great. I love that sort of thing.
And yet, in Virtua Tennis, the UK, you get saddled with Tiger Tim Henman.
Tim, nice but shit.
Well, yeah. I mean, I guess the other option was the blatant Canadian Greg Rudetsky. How the fuck do you say that name? Rudetsky. Let's go with that.
Something like that.
For some reason, the British press latched on to Tim Henman and gave him the moniker Tiger Tim. And if there is a less tigerish human being on the planet than Tim Henman, I really want to meet him because, jeez, just the least appropriate nickname ever. But the alternative was a Canadian with a massive face.
I can't remember Greg Kozetsky at all.
He was like blatantly Canadian. He's just gone, oh, do you know what? I can't. Canada aren't giving me enough money. I'm going to go and get a sports grant off the UK.
Didn't Lennox Lewis do the same thing?
Very much so, yes.
It was Canadian English, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think probably a little bit less Canadian than Greg Rudetsky.
I think what it is, if you're born in Canada and you're shit at hockey, you have to find another sport and leave the country. They're very polite about it, but you have to leave.
You're going to have to leave, eh?
I didn't realise there were a lot of Mexicans in Canada.
Fuck you. And apologies to all our Canadian listener. Do you have a favourite?
I only ever pick Yevgeny Kafelnikov.
Do you go for Kafelnikov every time?
Every time. It's the best player in the game.
Well, that's kind of is that a good reason to choose him?
No, his name is the best reason to choose him. I love saying Yevgeny Kafelnikov.
I mean, yes, it's a very good name. I've always picked Tommy Haas.
Tommy Haas is apparently the popular choice.
Yeah.
He's the only player who's been in all of them.
The surprising thing about Tommy Haas is most of the players, when they're ground stroke based and they've got some power, or they're called an all-rounder or whatever, they tend to be shit at volleys. But Tommy Haas isn't shit at volleys. His desperation game is a bit weak. If you're really floundering around, he tends to hit particularly soft shit shots. And I say, having not played two, I don't know which female tennis players are in two.
Lindsay Davenport, Yelena Dokic, Mary Pierce, love saying this name, Arantxa Sanchez Vicario.
Yeah.
Monica Seles, presumably pre-stabbing.
You would hope so.
Yeah. Alexandra Stevenson, Ai Sugiyama, Serena and Venus Williams. You may have heard of them.
I'll watch a bit of Wimbledon when it comes around most years. So I kept my eye in for all the names going around. There's no Anna Kournikova.
I think that's a licensing thing.
Because she had her own game, didn't she?
Yeah, she's never appeared in this. I wonder if she was tied into a deal with somebody for exclusive rights.
Anna Kournikova Tennis or Smash Tennis on the PlayStation is basically a follow-up to Super Smash Tennis on the PlayStation, featuring Anna Kournikova on the cover at least.
Yeah, that is a good way to sell a game.
I mean, she was a very, very attractive young lady. And also a very, very good tennis player.
Yeah. And technically, I am drinking her at the moment. A White Russian made with skimmed milk is an Anna Kournikova.
Indeed. I remember that.
Yeah. Random fact.
I'm surprised you didn't save that for your cocktail of the day, mate.
I've already used it. I used it for Christmas.
Did you? Wait, no, that was a White Russian, not an Anna Kournikova.
Nah, it's not. It's just a White Russian with same as skimmed milk. It's not an Anna Kournikova.
I think there is a bigger chance of us having chosen the same cocktail today than there is on any other day.
Oh, okay.
Not going to go into it. We're going to reveal it.
What are your ingredients?
We're basically going to do like a 3, 2, 1, say yours out loud.
God.
When we come round to it.
This will end badly.
I will win out because by virtue of the fact that I've made it and tasted it and you would have just picked a name. So
I'm so offended that you've found the truth. Oh, there's a name. Martina Hingis. Remember her?
Ah, yes. She was very, very good, wasn't she?
Swiss.
Sort of the power game was coming in with the Williams and with Lindsay Davenport, and even Mary Pierce had a massive serve because she was very tall. And Hingis was like 5'4" and playing a ground strokes and beating them.
Yeah. She was only ever in one of them, number 3.
So yeah, officially licensed players, real advertising, companies like Fujifilm, who I used to work for, which was a bit weird to see in the background, in that very Dreamcast kind of way of like, sticking real adverts in things. Yeah, and quite simple 2-button gameplay based on timing with, in the arcade, just a tournament mode. And then when it comes to the Dreamcast, they give it World Tour mode, which is like Crazy Taxi, Crazy Box mode. And there's just so much stuff going on. There's like tennis, 10-pin bowling. There's
the wall of numbers, 2 rows of numbers, 1 to 5, 6 to 10. And you have to variously move and hit, which is one of the harder ones, I think, because it's more like playing squash than tennis.
Yeah.
Because it comes back at you however hard you hit it.
There's the ones with like the rows of like oil drums you have to lob it into as well. That's a bit of a dick of a... That's quite hard.
I like that one. The bowling is the best. I love the bowling.
It is a lot of fun.
They've really captured the sound of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Virtua Tennis is on the Game Boy Advance. It's got the full World Tour mode. It's got the full thing. It's not like a stripped back version. It's a really... I mean, the speed of play is a little bit slower, but generally speaking, I was really surprised. It's got the full, as you would expect, Virtua Tennis experience on the Game Boy, and it's not one of these ridiculous expensive Game Boy Advance games either. But yeah, I'm really, really impressed by it. Hence, like, going away immediately and buying it, and with a very sort of basic creator player thing as well, rather than using a name, because there's no real players in it, but you create your own, so which is a great thing. A great compromise. Yes, you may not be playing against real players, but you've created your own player as well. So, and yeah, and yes, it's basic. You know, you pick from 5 faces and 4 hair colours and things like that. But it's still, you know, it's the Game Boy Advance, for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. I was very impressed by it. I tell you what, I said it's not got real players in it. It's definitely got the Williamses in it because they're on the cover. Do you know what other handheld Virtua Tennis is on?
PS Vita or PSP?
Oh, actually, the PSP and the Vita, yeah, I've got versions
Yeah,
of
I was
the
going to
game,
say.
but they don't count. Well, they don't, because basically, like, the PSP was out at the time as same time as the PS2.
Yeah.
And basically got a whole shit ton of PS1 ports.
Yeah.
And the Vita was out at the same time as the PS3 and got a whole shit ton of PS2 ports. And it's just, they don't count. It's just a handheld version of a game that already exists. It's nonsense. It's a complete waste of, battery most of the time.
Yeah.
But no, there is a version of Virtua Tennis on the Nokia N-Gage.
Oh, yes. I forgot you're the one person in the world who owns one.
I do. I own a Nokia N-Gage. I don't own Virtua Tennis. It only costs £15, and I watched a video of it, and I'm not going to spend £15 on it.
Good then.
Do you know what? It looks lovely. You see it. If you see a screenshot.
I was going to say this because the screen on that is kind of a portrait orientation.
Yeah,
that would suit.
Yeah, it looks lovely. You see a screenshot of it, and you think, "Oh," because I did. No, I went, "Oh."
You were suckered.
Interest peaked. You watch it. It's genuinely like watching the Game Boy Advance version at like a quarter speed. It's painful. So yeah, sadly, my Nokia N-Gage collection didn't go up from 4 to 5.
Wait, what are the 4? Tomb Raider?
Yeah, Tomb Raider and Tony Hawk's, and then the 2 actually good games.
All right.
Because Tomb Raider and Tony Hawk's, I was just lamenting the PSP and the Vita from being ports of other systems. That's exactly what they are. So pointless, but very, very cheap. And my Tony Hawk's is actually genuinely new and sealed and cost me a tenner because that's how few they sold of the fucking thing. Paths of Glory, or Path to Glory, I think, because Path of Glory is the old Stanley Kubrick film. Fucking masterpiece, by the way.
Great film.
If you have not seen that, watch that. But yeah, and also a Splinter Cell game, which I think is, I've never actually played it to my shame. I bought it. But it's also, I think, either a turn-based strategy or plays very differently to your standard Splinter Cell game.
Well, yeah.
In a good way.
Yeah.
It does something new, yeah.
Well, it sounds like
So yeah, basically I looked around for what the best games were when I got my N-Gage, and I mean those 4 were pretty much 4. Up there. Yeah. I read a long time ago, really interesting thing about frame rates in games, where they were asking people, like educated people, what the perfect frame rate for games is. And there are people who say, why films run at 24 frames a second, because that's about the point where the human eye turns static image into motion. So there were people making that argument, and then they asked, I don't know whether he was like an optician or just a scientist of some sort, and he went probably 5 frames a second.
5?
And it was like, 5? Yeah, well, a human being, the fastest human reaction is about 0.2 of a second. So you can't react to anything quicker than that anyway. And I'm like, there's something in that. There's a game in that.
There is and there isn't.
But no, obviously it doesn't work like that, because it's like, if your frames are changing at that rate, then you've got in your mind just enough time to react to what's happened. For somebody, young.
Yeah, but you're not being asked to respond to something in like 1 frame.
No, absolutely not.
There's anything that like shoots at you or interacts with you in any way has an animation sequence that it goes through, and there's a process there. How
far a ball moves in Virtua Tennis in 0.2 of a second is probably quite far, and that's the window you've got to do stuff. But what if that window wasn't a window? What if it was a frame of animation at 5 frames a second, and you have to I think there's something in it. I genuinely think there is a game in.
You want to make a game that runs at 5 frames per second?
5 frames a second, yeah. Because I remember a long time ago as well, not less long ago, because I remembered that when I saw this. Valtteri Bottas once started a Grand Prix, and it looked for all the world like he jumped the start. Like literally, he was away before anybody else, but he had reacted in 0.200 of a second. And that is exactly the point where they say if you are less than that, then you've jumped the start.
Yeah.
So have you played much Virtua Tennis in the last couple of weeks, Dave?
I feel like I've played enough Virtua Tennis in my life to not need to play it now to talk about it. because I have played it to death.
You say that, right? I also have played it to death. Adore this game. Let's get that out of the way straight away. Second Virtua game in a row, and the second game in a row I adore. It's not really a Virtua game in the true sense, but it's a Virtua named game.
Yeah, name only.
Yeah, absolutely adore it. Obviously, we're going to go into the reasons why as we go through it. But yeah, played it a lot. And I found something that I'd either, like, not just, forgotten. You forget stuff and then you see it and you go, oh shit, yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Something that I don't think I've ever known about Virtua Tennis. And it's one of those things where it's just like, that can't be possible. And I'm cracking on in years now. So, maybe it's one of those like completely forgotten, even to the point where when I see it again, I don't remember. But I don't remember ever seeing the close up behind your player view before.
You never pressed triangle.
Yes, never press triangle. This is why I don't believe also it's a Dreamcast. It's why.
I think you'll find it's green.
Yeah, but yes, the Y button on the Dreamcast changes the view to behind the player. And I swear to God, I did it. I pressed it because I thought it was the lob button when I started playing it.
It used to be in, is it Namco Smash Tennis on the SNES? Yeah, your basic hit was on B, A, I don't even know. We'll call it cross because that's what it is on the PlayStation. That was your basic shot. The circle was like a slice.
Yeah.
So you get like spin on it, and then triangle was a lob.
Yeah.
So you're playing the control. You're trying to use the controls on a 25-year-old game with the control method of a game that's 30 years old.
Yes.
Right. I did exactly the same. I genuinely thought there were more than 2 buttons for Virtua Tennis.
Oh, no.
Turns out there isn't.
No, it's always only been 2 buttons for the first Virtua Tennis. Well, there are 3 tennis games I've played to a massive amount. I think it's just called Super Smash Tennis on the SNES, and it's just called Tennis on the Game Boy.
All right.
And then Virtua Tennis.
Is that a memory saving thing, just calling it Tennis on the Game Boy? We can save a few lines of code if we just have the game called Tennis.
Really good game, and that really one tune that plays all the time, all the way through, never gets annoying. It's that good. It's a really great little ditty. But yes, anyway, I swear to God, pressed that Y button accidentally, and I was like, yeah, what's going on there? Almost solves the only thing that's bad about the whole game.
What, the camera?
The fact that you have to play from the other end of the court.
No, that's a thing. That's always been a thing.
I hate it. Well, it's not.
Really?
It's been evolved out now. There are tennis games now have evolved it out. And the best thing to do, I think, is to give you the option.
Well, I always thought it made sense because more often than not, you play sports games in multiplayer.
Yeah.
So if you're playing it in multiplayer, then it makes sense to take turns going up or down the court.
Complete, yeah. And as I say, I played a lot of Super Smash Tennis against my old mate Jim back in the day on the SNES. And that's when, you're absolutely right. You do it. It levels the playing field. But when you're playing it as a one-player game, and let's face it, Virtua Tennis, particularly on the Dreamcast, is a fantastic single-player game. The fact that I have to play 50% of the games from a position that I can't get my head around on any game, ever.
Really?
Any tennis game ever, I cannot do it. Just can't play it from the top of the thing.
I quite like it.
Really?
Yep, I've always quite liked being at the top of the screen, receiving the serve. It makes sense to me. It feels right. Because you serve from the bottom of the screen. Yeah. So when the other person serves, they serve from the bottom of the screen. And it's always made sense to me.
I hate it in every tennis game, and I've got a lot. I said before, we did Paparappa. I've got 20 rhythm action games. I've got 18 tennis games.
Wow, that's a lot of tennis.
Yeah, absolutely. 4 of them are Virtua Tennis.
That's 17 more tennis games than I want or need. Because Virtua Tennis is it. As far as I'm concerned, I don't ever need to play another tennis game.
I completely 100% agree. I mean, if games before Virtua Tennis might be worth a look. In some the Super Smash Tennis series is pretty cool.
Yeah, I
remember. And tennis on the Game Boy as a handheld is great. And just to get it in there.
Is it going to be like Sega All-Stars Tennis or something?
No, Sega All-Stars Tennis isn't very good.
No, I was reading about it earlier and I thought, that sounds rubbish.
No, what is quite good is Jimmy Connor's Tennis on the Atari Lynx.
There we go.
A good little game, that one. Works really well. And then there's Virtua Tennis on the Game Boy Advance.
Oh, okay.
Did you fire up your emulator for a go?
I haven't got one, I don't think.
No. I did fire up an emulator to have a go and then went to eBay and bought a copy.
As is your want.
As is this podcast history of costing me money. I also realised that the only Virtua Tennis I don't own in a real sense is number 2 on the Dreamcast, so I bought that as well while I was at it.
Did you buy it as Virtua Tennis 2 or Tennis 2K2?
What's that?
When it was originally released, it was Tennis 2K2.
Really?
In Japan. Yeah, because Sega started off with NBA 2K.
Yes.
Making the 2K brand of games, and then I think Virtua Tennis 2, otherwise known as Tennis 2K2, was the last one to use that before they sold that naming rights to Take-Two Interactive.
I was going to say, that's a brand on its own.
Who are now the 2K everything.
Yes, yeah, because I have NBA 2K2.
Yes.
American only second sequel to NBA 2K, the greatest basketball game ever made other than NBA.
Did you buy that off me?
No, I imported it.
Because I've got that.
Well, the American one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have a working American Dreamcast anymore, though. Ask me why.
Why, Dave?
Well, you know James from our Championship Manager episode.
Oh, yes. I remember him. He was a nice guy.
He fucking blew it up. When we lived together, he said to me, "Oh, can I use your Dreamcast?" So, yeah, sure. And the next thing I hear is this pop. Fuck was that? So, oh, Dave, there's smoke coming out of your Dreamcast. Oh, what colour is the logo on the Dreamcast, James? Orange.
Did he plug it into the 240?
Yeah, by putting it into mains. It's like, oh, you idiot. I mean, you weren't to know, so I can't really blame you for it, but yeah, I had a big step-down converter thing that you have to plug it into to then plug in, and he just didn't know, so he plugged it in and blew it up.
If you're in the US and this has somehow passed you by, our electricity is more than twice the voltage out of the mains than yours is. So if you plug anything American into a UK plug without a step-down converter, it goes bang in a big way. Also means we can have kettles. So we win, okay? We win.
My Virtua Tennis disc is temperamental.
Mine too, which is interesting. Let us know in the comments if yours is.
It will just freeze and basically it's crashed and dead.
Yeah.
So you just restart. I always assumed it was the Dreamcast because basically I dig it out like once a year and play one thing and then put it away. Last time I got it out, I played Virtua Tennis, played Metropolis Street Racer, played a bit of NBA 2K, played a few things, and that only ever happened on Virtua Tennis. So I can only assume it's the disc. And the fact that you said it happens to yours as well is a bit weird.
I've recently replaced the laser on my Dreamcast, and so the first thing I tried in it was Ikaruga, which is a Japanese disc. So not only has to load the Japanese disc, but also the DC UK's cheat disc to then load the Japanese disc. And all that worked absolutely fine. I played it for long enough to die, which wasn't quite as short as you might imagine.
About 5 minutes did you manage?
And then I thought I'm going to try something else. And so what I did was I looked through a few of my discs and found the one that was in the shittiest condition, which was Looney Tunes Space Race.
Wow.
Which I only bought recently and cost me £2, and I bought because I didn't have a Dreamcast game that started with the letter L.
I knew you were going to say that.
I am that much of a fucking nerd. And that played absolutely fine. Played an entire level. Not a very good game. Got a weird sort of lack of energy about it.
Okay, for a Looney Tunes game, that's a kind of a prerequisite, isn't it?
Yeah, it looks fantastic. The visuals are spot on, but the sound and the music and everything else is just a bit muted and doesn't really work. Played it for a good long while just to check it out. Worked fine. And then played a good long chunk of Jet Set Radio because, I thought, what am I going to play for a long time? Yeah, it'd be Jet Set Radio. So I just put it on and just can't help but play it, even though I had to sit through the entire demo because I deleted my save. Do this run. What? Skate around a corner? Oh, let me see. But it does seem that there is not anything wrong with my new Dreamcast laser. It's just that my Virtua Tennis temperamental. But there you go. So what have you played?
I have played enough of the PS2 version of Virtua Tennis 2 to realise that I should probably buy it on the Dreamcast because the PS2 version is shit. or at least running on the emulator they've got. It looks awful. I can't believe that it's the game. It must be the emulation, because Virtua Tennis on the Dreamcast, which is the previous game, looks amazing. To this day, it still looks good.
Yeah, they both look incredible to this day. I listened to another podcast in the week about Virtua Tennis. Poduken, like Hadouken, but with pod in front of it.
Okay, yep.
Good podcast. Get a Cocktail Mode seal of approval. They basically only talk about arcade games to the point where they spent quite a lot of time talking about what hardware and board and all this sort of some pretty in-depth arcade game stuff. But other than that, 3 or 4 guys, really good, laid back, probably way more popular than us and don't need our seal of approval. But I've said enough about podcasts I haven't liked on previous episodes. So there's one that I do like. And they were saying that on the PS2, it doesn't run as well as it does on the Dreamcast, because I guess it's not that one-to-one from the Naomi architecture, is it? That was the Dreamcast.
It's had to be made to work.
PlayStation 2 games as well could just look awful occasionally. Just horrendous looking things sometimes. There's something, I don't know why. Some of them look great and look great to this day, but a good few of them just muddy and just a bit weird and blurry. I mean, the PlayStation 2 version as well is about £2, and I paid a tenner for it on the Dreamcast. And that's not just my prejudice for the Dreamcast kicking in. It is apparently the better version. So
I can well imagine.
I looked at a magazine review of all things. Remember those days?
Yeah, fondly.
Yeah, absolutely. That basically said, it's an iteration on Virtua Tennis, but when Virtua Tennis was that good, it's no bad thing. And it's got female tennists in it as well.
Say that again.
Tennists.
Tennists.
Tennis.
Is that what you're going with?
Thank you, Poduken, for this. When you finish, which I'm not sure I ever have, when it ends and you beat it, it says you were the greatest tennist.
Really? I don't remember that.
And it's a real word. It isn't a mistranslation or something.
It makes a change for you.
No, right? See, I can't take credit for that one, but I love it. So I'm having it forever now. Tennist. A person who plays tennis is a tennist. Like a cellist or, a guitarist.
Right, okay, yeah.
A tennist. Virtua Tennis only has male characters and Virtua Tennis 2 has female, which is a step up on its own, I think. Probably back in the day you might have hesitated to spend £60 on it, but it's definitely an upgrade.
The World Tour, or like the career mode effectively that it is quite odd. I can't remember if Virtua Tennis does it. I don't think it does, but the concept in the second game is that it goes for a calendar. So every time you do something, it steps through the calendar.
Okay.
And sometimes it can be like 5 or 6 days to the next actual tournament. And sometimes those tournaments, bearing in mind you've been playing the game for like literally 10 minutes, second or third tournament that came up, I couldn't enter because I wasn't a high enough rank.
Yeah.
I won the first one that comes up on day 2. How the fuck am I supposed to be able to get into that tournament? What's the point of that? It should just be a rolling thing that you progress through. It's really odd. It's such a strange decision. I couldn't get my head around it at all.
When I was struggling to get it to work, I went and played these other games. So I'd played a lot more with Virtua Tennis 3. And I was playing it thinking, this is just like Virtua Tennis. It hasn't really changed that much. This is really good. I'm really enjoying this. And then Virtua Tennis, I made work on the Dreamcast. And it's not. In Virtua Tennis 3 and 4 and 2009, and I think probably anything else afterwards, is just not as good.
Yeah.
No, and it is. It's one of what was the game we talked about? Whereas when you get it right first time, it's really hard to then come back and make a sequel that's better. Probably Crazy Taxi, because there are 2 Crazy Taxi sequels that are just
Everybody's Golf applies to that as well.
Yeah, and it is just that. Even we mentioned Jet Set Radio already. Jet Set Radio Future's just not as good. It is that Virtua Tennis, and I can't vouch for Virtua Tennis 2. And I think perhaps it's probably the one game that's got a chance of being better than Virtua Tennis, because it is just a bit iterative. It is, some new world mode games and some new tennis players to play with, and not a lot else. That probably would, with the course of history and the fact that you're not having to pay pay £60 a year apart for it. Put it in good stead, because Virtua Tennis is just immaculate.
Yeah, it is great.
To the best of my knowledge, happy to be corrected if someone's telling me, it takes a completely different approach to the game than all other tennis games took before it, and every tennis game that I have played after it is basically, doesn't matter what the name is on the box, it's Virtua Tennis. It's just they've basically taken the approach of Virtua Tennis and done some other stuff with it, but the approach of Virtua Tennis, which is basically position and timing, is more important than anything else.
Yeah, positioning is the single most important thing.
And I've not seen a game do it different since. Other than, the crazy stuff, Mario Tennis and all that madness. And some of those are very, very good. Which is another good point, right? Because Virtua Tennis is an arcade tennis game.
Yep.
It came out in the arcade and on the Dreamcast. But it's not arcadey. There are no power-up. There's no super shot. There's no... it's an arcade game because it is accessible, not because of the content, I think.
No, it's very true to the original sport, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like even something like, I don't know, off the top of my head, Football Champ has this ridiculousness to it. It has, fouls that you would never, ever be able to commit in a real game. It has the super shoot option, whereas Virtua Tennis is just tennis done really, really well.
One of the biggest cliches in gaming is easy to pick up but hard to master. And it is that is absolutely, you pick up and play on Virtua Tennis is incredible.
It's instant.
Yeah.
If you play it with somebody who's never played it before, you just say that stick to move around, that button to hit it.
Yeah.
That's it. Just be in the right place at the right time, and away you go.
Yeah. The only complication is the thing that I do, whereas I start off and initially quite good, pick stuff up quite quickly, and then by the end of the day I'll be quite good. But there's a big thing in the middle where I just go wrong all the time. I start overthinking it, and I found that with Virtua Tennis playing as well, where I was trying to hit too early.
Yeah, you're trying to preempt it.
Yeah, and you just because you know that position and time is everything. You get in a good position and then you hit your shot too early. I think that's the only sort of spanner in the works for that whole learning curve thing. Do we have on our list of games we're going to do anything like International Track and Field or Daley Thompson's Decathlon or one of those?
Ooh, we should have. I don't think we do. Certainly not Track and Field and not Daley Thompson.
So the reason I ask is because the guy who directed Virtua Tennis and Virtua Tennis 2, the only other game he directed was a game called Winter Heat, which is a sequel to a game called Athlete Kings, which is basically International Track and Field for the Sega Saturn. Both of those, Athlete Kings and Winter Heat, Sega Saturn games. But those are the only games he ever directed. Those four. And quite often Virtua Tennis is kind of credited to Mia Kumagai.
Yes.
She was usually credited as producer or creative producer, but she tends to get the credit for the series.
She pitched the idea initially to Sega. She was never into games. She joined Sega as a theme park ride designer.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she did a degree in philosophy.
As you do.
As you do, yeah. She was really interested in like the sort of psychology of designing rides and user experience and things like that. Got this job at Sega and then became involved in games through a sort of side entry. Got assigned to the AM3 team, met and then married her husband, who was part of the team. But yeah, came up with the concept because she wanted to produce games that were not necessarily aimed at women, but be a shared experience. So her initial thought was sports games will be ideal for this because men and women enjoy sports usually evenly. And she pitched the idea of a basketball game to Sega, which they rejected straight away. But then she pitched tennis, and initially they didn't want to do it. It's been done and they're a bit crap, but she sort of stuck with it, and they started to form the project, and it obviously became really, really successful. But I thought it was interesting to see a project lead that isn't necessarily a programmer or a designer, because every other person we talk about with being credited as the designer or the director or the whatever of a game, they're very much a technical, usually guy, well, always guy up to this point, who have actually made the game. Yeah. They themselves have sat and programmed code. They've designed stuff. They've created most of it. She's sort of guided it. First time, best ever attempt at a tennis game. Yeah. Like we said earlier, it's almost the best tennis game ever made, if not the best tennis game ever made. I certainly can't think of one better.
She's down as a producer on Virtua Tennis, Virtua Tennis 2, and a few others. And a producer is normally basically someone who coughs up the money and does the thing of going, I don't think that will sell, don't do that. That's kind of the producer's job. So the reason the original cut of Blade Runner exists is because there were test screenings and the producer said, we won't make enough money out of a film that tested like this, change it. That's the producer's job, is to make money, and yet doesn't seem to be the case.
Best example of that is Brazil.
Yes.
Terry Gilliam's legendary battles with the studio and the producers on that to get it even released.
Yeah, absolutely. But she was producer also on, you won't know this, Dave, there's a Game Boy Advance game called Astro Boy Omega Factor. Which I think is Treasure, and she was producer on that as well. It's incredible. It is like easily one of the best games on the Game Boy Advance. It's got like a shit ton of slowdown, and somehow it makes the game better. It's like this is so fucking epic that the hardware cannot keep up. It's brilliant. It's a really, really great game.
Yeah.
It does seem that Mia Kumagai is to be definitely credited with Virtua Tennis. But at the same time, Virtua Tennis 1 and 2, well, certainly 1 and apocryphally 2 are sort of stand out the best ones. And they were both directed by my mate, whose name I've forgotten. I'm not even sure I mentioned earlier, actually.
I don't think you did.
Katsumoto Tatsukawa was the director of Virtua Tennis 2, Athlete Kings, and Winter Heat. I don't own Athlete Kings or Winter Heat. I will by the time we get round to doing International Track and Field. What's the music like in Virtua Tennis 2?
I don't know.
Will you turn it off?
No, I tuned it out. Whatever it was, I just tuned it out. I didn't listen to it. Because I know for a fact the music in Virtua Tennis is not fantastic, but not bad.
Yeah.
It sort of cuts in every now and then.
No, it's constant.
Yeah, but no, it specifically cuts in when it does like the replays of scoring shots and things like that. But it's mostly unnoticeable through the rest of the rally.
So I think you're misremembering, because it is.
Oh, okay.
Well, I don't know what the word is really. It's basically rock music.
Yeah. That was an intentional choice. They specifically chose rock-based music to energize the player and to G him up a bit, which I thought was great.
Yeah. I tell you what, for that kind of obviously digitally produced, not licensed rock in inverted commas music, it really works really well. And I think it works really well because the game is so fast-paced. It's not, because if you've ever watched a real game of tennis, they spend more time bouncing the ball than they do playing the fucking shots. It's not quite cricket levels of wandering about, but it's not far off. And to be fair, they are actually doing an athletic sport, so they are allowed a bit of a break. I'll give them that. In Virtua Tennis, the pace keeps up. It does cut to a little replay every now and again, but it's literal press a button, skip it, which you will do every time. I think you might even be able to turn them off in the setting. And so it just really keeps up a speed of play. And that music, it makes you want to do that. You want to keep going, especially when you're winning, especially when you're doing well. You're like, no, let me get to the next point. I've got momentum. I've got a feeling it's really working, and it's got a really good vibe to it. And it doesn't do, worth noting that you don't play like a full match of tennis. You normally play like best of 2, best of 3, best of 5, I think, at most. You don't do the whole like 20-hour slog that tennis can turn into. It's literally a couple of games, and all the better for it.
Doesn't it ramp up as you progress through a tournament? Don't you play more games to a set? If I remember.
Yeah, it is, and I don't think it's ever more than one set. I think it's like a best of so many games. So I was playing earlier, and I got to the best of 3, but it starts off best of 2, or first of 2, whichever you want to call it. But yeah, I don't think it ever gets to multiple sets and all that sort of shit that we have to put up with in actual tennis.
I think that would drag it down.
Oh, absolutely.
That would take it away from being an arcade game and take it away from being fun.
Yeah, and I think that's where I think the pace and that sort of levity is the wrong word, but the briskness of it is where it feels like an arcade game. As we said before, it doesn't have power shots. It doesn't have you're not building up a meter of any kind. There's nothing about it. None of those trappings at all. Actually, to its credit, the only meter you see is when you serve. There's not another thing in the game that's particularly gamey. That's it.
Actually, thinking about it, you know what this reminds me of?
What's that?
Now that we talk about this and like taking a real world thing and stripping it down to its like bare essentials, it's Virtua Racing. Virtua Racing, you only do, 4 or 5 laps?
Yeah.
Total of like 3.5. 319 if you're good. But anyway, you know what I mean? It's an arcade racing game with none of the things that you would normally associate with an arcade game. There's no power-ups, there's no special abilities, you can't even change the car.
No drifting.
Exactly. But Virtua Tennis does a similar thing. It takes tennis, strips it down to a best of 2, a best of 5, a best of whatever it is. A single set will win you that game.
Yeah.
And away you go. You don't need to add all those bells and whistles. You don't need to make quote unquote a normal arcade game.
That's a really great point.
I wonder if that's part of the Virtua ethos. If they had a design guide from the start, was to do something in such a way that you don't add lots of bollocks.
Yeah, I wish that was the case, but the Virtua name was retrofitted to this game to sell copies in America.
That's fair. Yeah.
So, unfortunately,
and it worked.
It's a great idea. Oh, absolutely, it worked. Yeah. As I said, Power Smash in Japan, which is a better name. But the Virtua brand meant something. It was a known brand. I certainly remember the Virtua name from the time, meaning full 3D polygons, like well made, like addictive gaming. Yeah, so that's what's just come to me off the top of my head, thinking back to the Virtua brand rather than it being what was the actual AM2 Virtua series. That's what it meant. It meant like pushing the boundaries of what hardware could do, but also doing that in a way with really good games. And I don't think at the time Virtua Tennis was particularly pushing the boundaries of hardware, but it was a really good game. Like a really
I don't know. I mean, the animation of the people in that game was, when it came out, some of the best ever animated characters that had ever been seen in a game.
Yeah.
Because they're believable. Everything they do, all of their movements are believable. They are immediately normal human beings.
Yeah. It's a very, very polished game.
It's one of the standout things that's stood the test of time.
I think that's why, though, isn't it? I think it's been made with an incredible amount of class and attention to detail. And it just, as you say, it completely stands the test of time because of it. Yes, the corpse might not be officially branded. Who gives a shit? It doesn't matter. There is something, I must admit, quite nice about the players being real players. But if they weren't, it would still be a fantastic game.
Yeah.
In a realistic sense, it should take nothing away. I think it does bring something that they are recognisable, and I just think it's just something about it that is just classy. And I can't think of a better word for it. And I think that's why it's not, as you say, the animation is spot on. The presentation is sort of mimicking a TV style presentation, but there's no commentary.
Yeah.
And when the announcer happens, if you go to France, the announcer announces the score and the points in French. And it's just, there's something classy about that. Do you know what I mean? There's something about it. It just goes, this is a quality product.
Yeah.
It basically ruined tennis games for all other game systems. Tennis peaked at Virtua Tennis. Possibly Virtua Tennis 2, but unfortunately I can't tell you until later next week when it turns up.
I do wonder if Virtua Tennis was the last time I enjoyed tennis, because I haven't always hated it on TV. I think it was always because when Wimbledon kicks in, Star Trek wouldn't be on a Wednesday evening. And I wouldn't be aware of it for the first week. And I thought, shit.
Sit through those really shit first rounds of Wimbledon.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'll skip the whole tournament and watch the final.
I think perhaps maybe when I was younger, I was slightly more than a fully casual watcher of tennis. Never played it, never enjoyed playing it. I was just really bad at it, so just didn't bother.
I'm shit at tennis. Always was.
Yeah, but I think I was probably a little bit more than a casual tennis watcher. I watched not just Wimbledon, I watched other tournaments as well, and was interested in what was going on. I think that was only for a very short amount of time, possibly due to, I don't know, as you say, life circumstances. Probably had nothing better to do of an evening or of a day, or I don't know, really don't know. But I don't watch it much anymore at all. But I've always found through that period when I was actually interested until now, women's tennis is better to watch than men's tennis.
Oh yeah, there's no question about that.
And that's not a sleazy thing. It's kind of, I think, probably for the same reason that casual fans don't like Formula One. They watch Formula One and it's boring compared to something like touring car or something like that. Whereas as a lifelong fan of Formula One, I think everything else is shit because Formula One is the pinnacle. And I think people who love tennis and who believe in it and they see people like Djokovic playing, and that's just the pinnacle of tennis to them. There is nobody better than this. So that's what the joy they get out of it. But as a pure spectator, semi-casual sport, women's tennis is much better to watch.
Yeah, much more interesting.
I guess from this period as well, we said Jim Courier's in the game, and he just was a serve. If you can get his serve back, you beat him. And that's not just me being flippant about the former best tennis player in the entire world. I'm the best tennis player. What in what? No, in the world. All 6 billion of you. I'm the best one. And that was Jim Courier at one time, but it was all built behind his serve. If you could get his serve back, most of the time you'd win the point. It's just he was bombing down a serve at 120 mile an hour, and you couldn't get it back. Didn't matter who you were, what you were doing. But anyway, that's the fault of the sport, not of Jim Courier. Point being, that I've always lamented the omission of the female players in Virtua Tennis, and it's incredible to me that of all the video games that I've bought since playing Virtua Tennis, I never ever picked up Virtua Tennis 2. 3-4, 2009, but not 2, which is the best one, but with girls in it.
What do you think the world record is for a tennis serve now? You just mentioned 120 mile an hour as a rough guess, presumably.
Yeah, it just kind of pinged into my brain a little bit.
Because I would have said sort of just, a bit north of 100 miles an hour.
Yeah.
So what's your guess?
So I assume, like, by tennis serve, it's like a serve that lands in court, not just hitting a ball as hard as you can. 136.
163.
Fuck off.
Yep.
Is that by somebody who can't play tennis?
It was in the Davis Cup in 2016, so
Shit.
It was completely
That's
official and everything.
Insane.
John Eisner.
Yes, I know that name.
That's nuts. I would not have guessed anywhere near that high.
No. That's insane.
You've got to have already swung the racket or put it in the way for that to hit it. Imagine the damage that does if it hits you.
Oh, God. And it got you in the stones.
I know they're soft, but anything moving at that speed.
Oh, tennis balls aren't that soft.
No. Oh, wait, sorry, no. Revise those numbers. The fastest recorded serve at an ATP event was 157 miles an hour.
Well, that's
still pretty good. Still pretty good.
I'd say I still don't want to get hit in the bollocks by it.
I don't want to have to stand in front of that.
Do you remember playing Tin Can Soldiers at school? So, if you don't know, Tin Can Soldiers, you line up against a wall and the person who starts the game has a tennis ball and lobs it at you as hard as they can.
Mm-hmm.
From about tennis court distance away from what it is. And that hurt enough. And that's probably going like 30 miles an hour.
Yeah.
So the game is, by the way, in case you've never played the brilliant playground of Tin Can Soldiers, is the person, you start with 1 versus 10, let's say. And the 1 lobs the ball at the wall of 10, and if you're hit, you come and you join the 1, and eventually you get down to being the fucking hero who is the 1 person left standing against 9 people lobbing a tennis ball at him. God, great days.
Yeah.
Probably banned now.
Oh, undoubtedly. Can't even play conkers anymore. It's a health and safety risk.
I mean, the thing is, I can get it with Tin Can Soldiers. Conkers is just fuck off. And British Bulldog, which is basically you're going to run and I'm going to try and fucking murder you. You can kind of understand why they don't let them play that anymore. But Conkers, fuck off.
can remember two things very, very specifically. Was the costumes you could unlock. One was a giraffe. So your costume, your sort of t-shirt and shorts is like giraffe skin pattern.
Right.
But the racket changes to have like the sort of antler things that a giraffe has. And the other one, I don't remember if there's an outfit associated with it, but you definitely have a frying pan instead of a tennis racket. And the noise that makes when you hit the ball is a very memorable clang sound that always made me smile.
Is this Virtua Tennis the first one?
Yeah, it must be, because it's the only one I've got.
Oh, yeah. I don't remember those at all.
I can't remember what you had to do. I think you probably had to get perfect scores in the mini games or do something specific in World Tour mode, because that's where they were.
Yeah, you had the shops, isn't there? The shops in World Tour where you buy stuff.
Yeah, it might have just been something you bought.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
I don't remember anything like that.
I'm sure there were alternative costumes for people as well, because you could change your clothes.
There definitely was that. 100% that.
Changing the clothes to the ones you'd unlocked changed your racket as well.
I saw it earlier today, so I should be able to remember this. But you could pay money to unlock courts for arcade mode. Mm-hmm. So you'd play in Germany, and then you could pay your $100,000 to, and then you'd be able to play that in arcade mode. And then it was just general cosmetics, basically, like different color of t-shirt, different color of shorts, whatever. And then you had to buy doubles partners.
Yeah, so, you contracted them.
Yeah, so you couldn't enter a doubles tournament until you'd done that. So basically, you had to win a certain amount of money to be able to afford the doubles partner to be able to play in those tournaments to win more money. And then there was an energy drink, I remember, and new strings for your racket. And, and they were, like, in the description it says like recover stamina or recover power. I don't remember losing stamina or power. And maybe I've missed something, and this is again one of these things that I don't remember from the time. I don't remember from 25 years ago when I was playing it. In the later games that I've played, you have a stamina and a power and an energy meter. In even like 3 and 4, you have to take rest days. You're saying about that whole calendar thing. You'll get to a point where you have to take a day off to recover your energy and all that sort of thing. But I don't remember that being the case in Virtua Tennis.
I can remember there being things you could buy like that.
Yeah.
Don't remember them being needed.
Really interesting. It's a bit like the fucking car wash in Gran Turismo, isn't it?
Yeah.
Does nothing.
Well, it does. It makes your car clean. I just found a list of the cheats, Virtua Tennis. Well, I say cheats, unlockables.
Yes.
There's a camouflage costume, complete the cannon training level with 15 seconds left. Chinese costume, complete return ace training on level 3 with only 2 balls. Fire suit costume, complete big ball training with 10 seconds left.
Jesus.
Giraffe costume, which I remember, complete drum shooter training with 10 seconds left.
Christ.
Players King, which was complete all the training levels. Players Master, beat Master in arcade mode. Another Players Master, beat doubles arcade mode without continues. A sunflower costume, don't remember that one. Complete big ball training with 10 seconds left. That's the same unlock conditions as the fire suit costume. So I'm not sure about that.
Weird. Big ball is a difficult one.
Tambourine costume, which might be what I'm thinking of for the frying pan. Complete bullseye training with 7,000 points. And then a zebra costume, complete smashbox training with 10 seconds left. That's the one I used to wear, the zebra. Definitely. Now that I've seen it, I remember that.
Which makes sense because I don't want to undermine your achievement, but Smashbox is definitely the easiest of all those listed.
Oh yeah, 100%. No, there isn't one for getting perfect on 10-pin bowling.
No.
Because that's quite easy.
Weirdly enough, I used to be, it's kind of after the Dreamcast actually. I used to be a little bit obsessed with like unlockables and secrets and that. And there's games that I bought from that era based like solely on them having interesting or weird unlockables and things.
Yeah.
Back then. But yeah, I don't remember any of that from Virtua Tennis.
I can remember getting a few of them, definitely. Because I could vividly remember the giraffe and the zebra, and what I thought was a frying pan is probably the tambourine.
Yeah.
Just because it makes it sound so funny when you hit any ball.
I'd like to talk to you about other tennis games that you've played other than Virtua Tennis or the Virtua Tennis series. Played and enjoyed, or things that basically ones that stick in your memory.
Okay, I've got quite a few up to Virtua Tennis.
Yeah.
None after it, which just tells you all you need to know, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And we've already said it.
Go back a step from the Dreamcast. There was, in fact, come back 2 steps. I don't remember ever playing anything on the PlayStation. There was definitely the SNES Namco Smash Court Tennis, which I think you had.
Was it? I don't think it was actually called Namco Smash Court Tennis.
That's what I call it. Whether it's called just Smash Court Tennis or, well, I don't remember.
But I'm not sure it was even made by Namco. I think you might be conflating some stuff. I think you may have just...
I've always called it that. Smash Court Tennis, developed by Namco.
Oh, okay. So I'll shut my face. I never put that together. That's interesting. I think Namco Smash Tennis is a game that perhaps you have played and loved and enjoyed. The other one, Super Tennis, I own and have played a lot of. So I think we're thinking about 2 different games.
Possibly.
And if you've played them recently, then you're outdoing me because...
Oh, I haven't played them recently. At least 30 years.
I used to love Super Tennis, and so me and James Bristow, you're out there somewhere, James. I salute you. Used to play Super Tennis like endlessly. But it is basically, I mean, it's not far off Game Boy Tennis. You run around and you have to time your hit of the ball to absolute perfection. And this is all tennis games before Virtua Tennis played like that. And until Virtua Tennis came along, this was what we were saddled with, and thinking were good games as well, for that matter.
Oh, you didn't have any better, did you?
Absolutely. So yeah, the earliest tennis game I own is Tennis on the Game Boy, which is the earliest one I remember playing because it came out in 1989.
Wow.
Yeah, you don't think of the Game Boy as an 80s console, do you? But that's when it came out.
Similar thing with the Mega Drive. Never think of that as an 80s thing.
No, you don't, do you?
It is.
Oh, talking of which, I have Sampras Tennis on the Mega Drive, but I've never played it.
Oh, I might have played that.
It had the old Codemasters extra joystick ports in the cartridge thing going on.
Yes, I did play that. I didn't own it. I must have borrowed it off somebody.
Yeah, I think I must have got it with either in like a big bundle of games or with the console when I bought it, because I've never ever played it. I think it's supposed to be quite good. Super Tennis, which we just mentioned, and Tennis on the Game Boy. And then about the same time, Pocket Tennis Color on the Neo Geo Pocket Color. Really fun game. Little bit more technical than Tennis on the Game Boy, but plays really, really nicely. Really, really good game, that one. And then, obviously, I mentioned it earlier, Jimmy Connor's Tennis on the glorious Atari Lynx. And as we said, all of those games pre-Virtua Tennis were about timing a shot to hit the ball. It was about you had to press the button when the ball was like at you to make the shot, and that was it. Really,
there's always been a positioning element as well.
Imagine Pong, 2-player. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so 2-player Pong. You're playing 2-player, but you can move the ball, the paddle up and down as well. But then you have to press a button as the ball hits the paddle in order to deflect it. That's every tennis game prior to Virtua Tennis.
Yeah, if you strip away the visual gubbins.
Yeah, that's what you're looking at.
Yeah.
And then Virtua Tennis comes along and go, oh no, you're in position. You're going to wind that motherfucker up, and you're going to put it away.
I disagree. I think Super Tennis did that.
No, it didn't.
I'm 99% sure if you were in the right position in Super Tennis, you could wind up your shot. I stand to be corrected, but I'm pretty sure you could wind up your shot.
I can't remember that, and I played a lot of it, but I also have a very shit memory, so you could well be right. You could well be right. I mentioned that switching to that shot behind the player. So because I can't play from the top of the court, when I'm at the top of the court, I switch to that view. So I'm behind the player. It's really close.
Yeah.
And it makes it a bit harder, but it is fucking exciting. It really is. It's so fast. I think it's like that equivalent of going in car when you're in a driving game. It makes everything feel so much faster and immediate. And you know, it's flawed. But I won a point playing earlier by just, the ball was going past me on the left. So I just basically pressed left and pressed hit the shot. And I got it. And that shot and that ball was off the screen because it's so zoomed in at your back. But I just basically, out of, instinct and learning where things are going, press left, hit the shot, and it went cross court and I won the point. It felt incredible. It's got that whole energizing the play thing. It really, when you're playing from that view, it really brings that home. It does make the game harder. I couldn't imagine trying to play some of the later levels of the game from that view. It must be almost impossible. But it really does. If you want to have yourself some fun on the early levels of the game, choose that view. It does make it really cool. It feels really, I think energized is the right word. It really does feel kinetic and really in there. There was one post Virtua Tennis game that I wanted to mention.
Oh, is this Top Spin?
No, I've not played. See, but the thing is, these are serious tennis.
It's the only current tennis game I can even name, and I've never played them.
This isn't current. Actually, there are two from the 2000s, both on the Xbox, or at least I own both of them on the Xbox. One of them is Slam Tennis, which I picked up at a car boot sale for 25p. On the Xbox, and unfortunately it's not backwards compatible, so I've not been able to play it yet.
Oh, okay.
So because my Xbox is still in the loft and my 360 is down here.
So you have a 25p coaster.
Currently, yes, but it sounds really interesting. So I'm just going to grab it because it says nothing really about the game. Liquid Tennis with Attitude, a game that recreates then amplifies the excitement, atmosphere and challenge of modern professional tennis.
What a crock of shit.
Yeah.
What does liquid tennis mean?
What does liquid tennis mean?
Is that a reference to Anna Kournikova?
But yeah, I'm really intrigued by that. The other Xbox game I wanted to mention, they're Xbox PS2. And if there is ever a thing where you just go, that is so of its time, it's just, the whole zeitgeist of 2005 captured in a game called Outlaw Tennis, which is basically Virtua Tennis with hillbillies and tits. The frustrating thing is when they play well, they play really good tennis games, but they're basically Virtua Tennis. And the golf games, actually good fun arcade style golf games, but you have to put up with all this skeeziness. All this nastiness. And I think if you try and approach it with a sense of humour and find it funny, it can be quite funny, but then at the same time it can just be genuinely offensive. You remember in Virtua Tennis, it might be one of the others, but you know where you have the rows of machines firing balls at you and you have to hit them back? Mm-hmm. In either 3 or 4, I can't remember which, and probably 3, it's like a whole bank, like 25, 30 of them in rows that you have to hit them down. Some of them are red, and if you hit a red one, it explodes, and basically you're pummeling. So it plays exactly like Space Invaders, which I think is a nice circuitous link, considering that, Pong is the basis of all video games. To bring it back to Space Invaders is quite cool. But in Outlaw Tennis, the version of that they have is like lines of butchers who are marching towards a cow, and you have to hit them to stop them getting to the cow to slaughter it.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Welcome to 2005. So I wanted to mention 2 things before we get on to cocktails.
Okay.
First is the Mario Tennis series of games.
Right. Okay.
Most of them really, really good.
Okay.
And that's all I want to say about them, really. I just think I particularly like Mario Tennis World Tour on the 3DS. But also Smash Tennis, I think, is on the GameCube, is really good as well. But I just want to say that most of those games are really good fun. Virtua Tennis is arcadey. These are arcade times 10. These are the games that have got super moves, and there's like on certain levels there are characters that will get in your way and all stuff like that. They are very much in it, but they're very, very good games. They're just, they're not competitors is the right. They're not contemporaries of Virtua Tennis. They're a different kind of tennis game, but they're very, very good. And it should be noticed that there is, because we did Everybody's Golf on the PlayStation 2, there is Everybody's Tennis.
Yes.
Featuring some of the characters that you will know and love from the Everybody's series, or Hot Shots to our American listeners. And that too plays really well. It's a really fun game of tennis, but it is more arcadey and sort of less discernibly real tennis than Virtua Tennis. And I just wanted to bring up, because they're both, we said that all tennis is after Virtua Tennis, everything else, it might as well just be Virtua Tennis or not exist. And there's a two exceptions to it. There is only one Everybody's Tennis, but it did come out 2007, so worth noticing. It did try and do something different. It doesn't play like Virtua Tennis, but it plays very well. And the Mario tennis games just do their own thing, because they're Mario. They can do whatever the fuck they want. We're on to cocktails, and Dave, as usual, is going first. So what have you got for us, Dave?
My cocktail of choice for Virtua Tennis is on Difford's, and it's called Courtside, which I thought was a very nice name. One of the things I've always taken away from Virtua Tennis is that you really feel like you're there.
Yeah.
The spaces are so well created. Camera angles, we've mentioned, I think, in the episode, that it's kind of a TV presentation style.
Yeah.
Unless you accidentally press Y or triangle or whatever it is, you go into a very zoomed in view. You're quite far removed from it, but the court and the environment the game takes place in, I've always thought is one of the biggest selling points for me.
Yeah.
It feels like a believable space. The animation is very, very good, and the people feel right, and they look right, and they react well, and they do everything they do. But the environment, I think, really sells it. Like a lot of tennis games, a lot of old tennis games are literally just green with some lines going up to a bit of a vanishing point with a sort of shitty grid in the middle that might look like a net. I'm obviously doing them a disservice. A lot of tennis games are very, very good, but until Virtua Tennis, none of them looked believable. And Virtua Tennis is very believable because the environment is there, and it's, you can see advertising hoardings when the camera goes into weird alternative angles that you never see during a rally or during the actual game.
Yeah.
That environment is there. The whole thing is there. It's not just, here's a snapshot of a court that only shows what you can actually see. It's all there, all around you, behind you. There's stuff behind you that you never see during the game. But when the camera switches, you know that that's actually physically, well, not physically, but, it's there.
Yes.
It's being rendered. It's been designed to be there. So that's why I've gone for the courtside. I
like it, mate. And I think it's a really good point. And I quite glibly, talked about the advertising earlier of Fujifilm and whatnot. But I think they're brands that are very, maybe not Fujifilm, but the other brands, things like Citizen, and they're very sort of on brand for tennis, not just on brand.
They're fitting. They're fitting. Yeah. You have like Timex, Rolex, the kind of people who sponsor these events. So it's not out of place.
Absolutely.
I've never been averse to advertising in games if it suits the game.
Yeah, it's like if there's advertising in what it's trying to represent, then put the advert. It's like if you had a Formula One game that didn't have a shit ton of advertising hoardings around like gantries and around the side of the track for Armco and stuff like that, it wouldn't look real, because that is what is real when you watch it.
Yeah, if you were playing an F1 game and you were racing Donington and you went under the, I don't know, non-copyright infringing Dunlop Bridge, it just wouldn't be the same, would it?
Rubberware.
These are recognisable land. Like if that was suddenly the Goodyear Bridge, you'd look at it and you think that's wrong.
Yeah, that's
straight away that's wrong. Oh, they've obviously paid to advertise to put it there, and it's just, you can't do it. You can't fundamentally change things like that without somebody just looking at it. And
I think, and more to your point, I mean, it does build that environment. That is the real tennis environment. Yeah. So that is it's apt that it's in the game. And there's even little things like there are ball boys and linesmen all around the court and all that. Yeah. They don't really do anything. The ball boy never runs for a ball. Maybe he does. I can't remember the ball boy ever running for a ball. And there's obviously the umpire up on his chair. But all this stuff that builds a believable place. And even the announcements have got like a PA sound to them, don't they? And it's not just someone talking. They've got that kind of public address feel to the sound design. design. It's very cool, and I completely agree with what you're saying.
You talk about sound design. One of the things we never mentioned, I think, the sound of trainers on a hard surface.
Yeah,
that squeaky noise.
Yeah, it's great.
We never mentioned it, and it's done brilliantly.
Yeah, it is.
The best ever recreation of that is NBA 2K.
It is. But it reminded me instantly of that. When I noticed it playing it, I was instantly reminded of NBA 2K, because NBA 2K is, without question, the best recreation of trainers on polished wood or whatever the fuck it. But yeah, absolutely. No, I couldn't agree more. Great shout.
Yeah. So yeah, this is served in a Collins glass, and the ingredients are 1 fresh strawberries.
1 fresh strawberries.
I'll let that sink in. Yeah. 3 fresh raspberries, 45 ml of vodka, 15 milliliters of elderflower liqueur, 45 milliliters of apple juice, 15 milliliters of lime juice, freshly squeezed, and then 10 milliliters of pure cane sugar syrup, and top up with soda water. So yeah, simple ingredients. Muddle the berries in the base of a shaker. Add the next 5 ingredients, not the fizzy shit.
Yeah.
Shake with ice and fine strain into an ice-filled glass, and then top off with the fizzy shit. And that's about it. No discussion or anything about who made it, where it comes from, or anything like that. But it was part of a list of cocktails on Difford's for Wimbledon, so it's very easy to find.
Did you have an honourable mention?
I did have an honourable mention, which is off the same list of tennis cocktails on Difford's, which was the best pun I could find for a tennis cocktail, which is called the Game Set Match.
Okay, we can't talk about that one.
Why not? Is that because it's your cocktail?
Because the cocktail I've chosen
yes.
For Virtua Tennis is the Game Set Match.
That's a good one. How did you find that?
Well, it turns out that on our good friends diffordsguide.com, can I just reiterate, we are not sponsored or affiliated with Diffords in any way, shape or form. It's like if you're looking for information on a film, you go to the IMDb, right? If you're looking for information on anything, you go to Wikipedia. If you want information on a cocktail, you go to Diffords. Diffords is it.
Yeah.
It's always where we start. And if we struggle there, we'll find something elsewhere. But as Dave mentioned, Diffords actually have a section, I think, of a list of cocktails called Wimbledon cocktails. Both my choice and my honourable mention come from that list. Can I just promise you that I did look elsewhere as well, because I felt really...
However you want to justify your I just felt enough to care.
I felt really guilty that it was that easy, because honestly, the time and effort I spent looking for cocktails before, and I was like, oh, hello, there's a whole fucking list here. And more importantly, I should add that the Game Set and Match, I've had a couple before I started on the beer and started recording tonight, and they're really nice.
Yeah.
Really nice cocktail. It's a twist on the Manhattan, which is one of my favourite cocktails anyway. And it is bourbon, vermouth, sweet vermouth, and Amaro of some sort, Angostura bitters and orange bitters in a coupe glass, very small measures, very spirit forward, all that sort of thing. Because yeah, I had 2 and I thought, oh, maybe I should stop there for a bit.
We don't want another system shock.
We don't want another system shock. Well, I don't know. It might have been brilliant. I can't actually remember the end of it. So yeah, it's 50 ml of bourbon, 15 ml of a sweet vermouth. Amaro's Cynar is what they mentioned specifically, 15 ml of that. This is where I had to go off piece. I don't have Cynar or another I can't say that word. CARCIOFO Amaro Carciofo, perhaps? Don't know.
Let's have a look.
I'm going for, I think Carciofo is probably right. Somewhere in that region.
Yeah, I did Carciofo.
Yes, something like that. But I googled it and they said Campari will do in a pinch, so I used Campari. And I can imagine from reading up on what Cynar tastes like, I can imagine it would elevate this cocktail a little bit, I have to say. But the Campari was nice enough. And then a dash of Angostura bitters and a dash of orange bitters. And it's a stir it over ice. Don't stir it too long, and don't use really wet shit ice. Don't use the ice you make in an ice cube maker, like in a cube thing from your freezer, and stir it for 15 minutes, because it over dilutes it. And the first one I made, I over diluted, and I use quite good ice. My version of quite good ice isn't like bartender quality ice. So be careful. What I did for my second one was make sure I chilled my glass first, chilled what I was stirring them together in first, then used good ice, didn't stir it for very long, and it was much, much nicer. If you over dilute this cocktail, it's a bit meh, but if you don't, then all of those flavors really come through. So yeah, that was my honorable mention was actually something different, and guess what? It was from Difford's list of Wimbledon cocktails. So the reason it's my honorable mention is because I couldn't try it, and so this is kind of what I'm using the honorable mention for. It's cocktails that I think sound delicious, but I don't have the things to make. On Difford's there is a wish list feature that you can use to keep track of stuff, and so there is on that list there's one called Strawberry on Acid.
Yeah, I saw that.
So if you don't understand the connection, if you're sort of a super casual tennis fan or not a tennis fan at all, there is this image of Wimbledon that they like to perpetuate where it's all very strawberries and cream and champagne and everything is Rolex this and very, very high end. As far as I'm concerned, to the detriment of the sport, because I think basically it doesn't make it very accessible. It doesn't make it.
It makes it elitist.
Exactly. And apply golf clap when these people are out there slogging their guts out, and if people don't recognize them as a big name in the sport, they just sit there quietly doing a little golf clap after every point, and it's a real shame. There was a time a good few years ago now where they were so behind that they played on the middle Sunday, which is normally a day off as the tennis players and everybody involved, and they sold basically tickets at the door, which is a completely unheard of in all the history of Wimbledon. And everybody, every player, every umpire, every ball boy, everybody involved said this is the best atmosphere there's ever been at Wimbledon. But because they can usually sell tickets for £400, £500, £7,000 a ticket, whatever it is, for centre court, they've never done it again, just because of the money. But anyway, so yeah, strawberries and cream and strawberries and champagne is very much on brand for Wimbledon. So when you if you were to look at the Difford's list of Wimbledon cocktails, there's an awful lot of strawberries involved and quite a lot of champagne, and this is one of those. So the Strawberry on Acid is 3 fresh strawberries, 45ml of vodka, 22.5 of Feuille de Bois, which is a strawberry liqueur, 5ml of balsamic vinegar, and a grind of black pepper. Both things that go fabulously with strawberries, and then topped up with champagne or sparkling wine if you're feeling a bit Audi about it. Get yourself some sparkling wine. And I think that sounds incredible.
The balsamic vinegar and pepper really caught my eye.
Yeah. It's really nice. They're things that, like individually, I've never seen them together, but quite often people talk about dipping strawberries in balsamic vinegar. I suggest you reduce it first, rather than like in this cocktail, because you've got the rest of the things in the cocktail. But if you're going to dip your strawberries in balsamic vinegar, if you reduce it, it goes a bit sweet. So I'd recommend that. And black pepper makes everything better, as far as I'm concerned. It's the condiment of champions.
My idea for that is that would probably taste somewhat similar to a Bloody Mary.
I think there's too much sweet stuff in there for it to, because it's only like a grind of black pepper and 5ml of the vinegar, and you've got like 3 proper strawberries in there and the champagne. And I assume Feuille de Bois, because it's a liqueur, is going to be quite sweet as well.
Oh God, if it's anything like the raspberry liqueur that I've had before, it's very sweet. Yeah,
liqueurs tend to be quite sweet, and there's like a half a shot of that in it. So I think it's going to lean on the sweet side. The review from Difford's is rich, fruity strawberry, balanced and made interesting by vodka, balsamic vinegar and black pepper. Comes from a cocktail discovered in 2010 in Bristol. I love Bristol.
Discovered?
Yeah, discovered.
In an archaeological dig?
Yes, absolutely.
We dug up this huge gold container and the only thing in it was a recipe for a cocktail.
It's a Blue Peter time capsule by an alcoholic. But just to come back to my actual cocktail, the game set match, it is genuinely a really, really, really nice cocktail. And it's one of those spirit-forward cocktails. You put it in a coupe glass and it barely comes up to the street bit. There's not a lot there. Really, really delicious. Really nice and complex. Different flavors coming through, the different bitters and all that. One of those that I really like and is gonna stay on my list. I think I quite often don't know what to do with bourbon, so it's nice that there's that. Because obviously it's a bit of a budget version. I've always got normal sweet vermouth. I've always got Campari and bitters and bourbon, so it's a nice thing to have in your wheelhouse. It's a really good colour as well, really, because of the Campari. Nice red colour. Yeah, I didn't mention that it is garnished with a half a slice of lemon, and I think that's a blueberry they've skewered through the middle of it. Oh no, it's a cherry.
Garnished with a tennis ball.
It's just stuck on top of the glass.
Yeah, just floating around.
Cool. So we've got on our list, we've got that we are doing next California Games.
Oh,
are we going through with that?
I've been looking forward to this.
Yeah,
I can't wait to go back and play this and hate it. No, I've got such a fond memory of California Games. I don't think it can ever live up to it. I really don't.
In my memory, it's one of the first games I ever got addicted to. I think there was Spy Hunter, the Spectrum version, which is one of the worst versions, but I still got very addicted to it.
Did it still have the music?
No music. It's a Spectrum, mate. No, for fuck's sake.
Ben Gunn?
No, it's a shit version. Spectrum version is shit, and it doesn't really have the music, but it's the one I played and got addicted to. I literally play it for hours on end. But yes, other than that, California Games. Considering it's a game, and let's not get too much into it, that doesn't really have a single player structure to it, I used to play it for hours and hours on my own, trying to beat my own high scores and trying to, do better at stuff.
Yeah.
But yes, it's going to be interesting to go back to. So I'm looking forward to it as well. I hope you don't hate it, Dave, because it's...
I really don't want to hate it.
I mean, you're probably going to hate skating because it was always shit. This is one of these things. We went through our list of games and looked at events we might tie them into a little while back at the beginning of the year. And there is an event coming up called the World Games, which is basically all of the sports that can't get sanctioned by a World Championships or the Olympics. So all of these outlying sports. And I know there are video games of World Games, but I just thought California Games it's the one I love, the one I remember. We'll talk about World Games as well, because it's like log rolling and stuff like that. Seriously,
awesome.
In like the old C64 version. Just brilliant stuff. So there's a lot of games to talk about there, but we are not going to lose scope for the fact that California Games ate my real summer at once. We'll talk about that next time here on Cocktail Mode, the podcast where gaming, like alcohol, is in our blood.